Hey, what's going on YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, back again with another video. Remember little old me? Yeah, I've just been not really taking a break, but I've been a little scarce on the video game side of things, but I haven't exactly been idle. I launched a new channel recently. For those of you who want to know, I'll put a link in the description or maybe like a card at the end. Basically, my passion for photo and film, I'm going to put it all on that other channel. So actually, I've released quite a few videos in the last 15 days, just most of them have been on the other channel. That being said, in addition to that, I've also been playing a lot of games. I've just been trying to take more time to play some video games. So in this video, I thought I would just share some of the stuff I've been playing recently. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so this may kind of be a new series that I, feature on this channel. I know a lot of gaming YouTubers do it every once in a while, and I like the idea. It's a good way to make sure I'm playing games, make sure I keep diving into that backlog, as well as kind of be a channel update of sorts. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first game, which is on the PlayStation 4. That game is Star Wars Jedi Knight Fallen Order, and this is a fantastic little game here, brought to us by Respawn Entertainment. This tells the story of Cal Kestis. He is a Jedi Padawan who escaped Order 66, and now he finds himself years later during the dark times on a kind of on a salvage planet, working as a scrapper. Eventually destiny, calls his name, where he ends up using his powers to save a friend at work, and that puts him on the radar of some Inquisitors. Once fleeing from them, he gets some help by Sarah, and I can't remember the pilot of the ship, but he gets saved by a crew of rebels. Sarah, whom herself happens to be a former Jedi, and so they go on a planet to unlock a Jedi temple that basically holds a holocron and has some names of Force-sensitive children to help rebuild the Jedi Order. And so you go on this kind of planet, this galaxy trotting mission to all these different worlds to uncover the secrets of this lost civilization so you can open this Jedi temple. The gameplay on this is actually quite fantastic. I talk all the time about Star Wars games, in particular those where you play as Jedi, and how they never really seem to get the lightsaber combat right. In my opinion, the Jedi Knight series is still the best at that to me, but I really like what they did here. You basically got one attack button, but then they add a bunch of different supplements, to your fighting style, so you can pull off different combos depending on how you push the attack button. You also got a strong attack too, if I'm not mistaken. You got a button for your force powers, and each of the force powers you get is assigned to a different button, so you don't have to worry about like pulling up a list, kind of like how you did with the Jedi Knight games. And so it's fast, it's fluid. The combat on it is really heavy too. It's kind of got a Dark Souls type of vibe, in the way you fight enemies, especially when it comes to fighting other Force users in that. It's got a great amount of challenge, and the level design is also really fantastic. It shows some really breathtaking sights on this, and being an EA game, the production values is on point, so you got fantastic graphics, excellent sound, the works on that, everything you need to help tell the story. But like I said, it's got a good story along with it. I'm pretty much at the end of this game. I'm thinking I'm gonna beat it in the next day or so, but this is a game that's definitely been taking up a lot of my free time because it's been in my backlog for a while. And a lot of people telling me, hey man, if you like that Jedi Knight game, you want a really good Jedi simulator, you gotta play Jedi Fallen Order. Also, there's another game in the works in the Fallen Order series, which is excellent news to me. So if you haven't played this game yet, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic little game to play on the PS4. Okay, moving on with the next game on the list and staying with the PS4. This is the game that's been taking up most of my time recently, and I went back and revisited Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain, as well as Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I did that in the Metal Gear Solid 5 Definitive Experience, game that I got from GameStop recently. I have The Phantom Pain by itself, and I think I even got Ground Zeroes by itself, or either I have it digitally by itself. But like I said, I wanted a game that kind of puts it all in one place, and then it's got all the extras and stuff to it as well, so it was nice to have it physical all in one spot. And this tells the story of Big Boss, I should say, kind of his exploit in the 70s and 80s, and it really tells the story about how he eventually would turn on the United States government and kind of start his own thing. The gameplay in this is fantastic. When I played this game initially, I played it basically when it came out on the Xbox One years and years ago, like 2015, and I enjoyed the game thoroughly. I really liked Ground Zeroes. It was a cool little demo and all that. And by the time I got into the Phantom Pain, I just felt like the formula was too different. I'm not sneaking in corridors and things like that. I'm kind of infiltrating Soviet bases and things, so it's got a whole different type of vibe to it. But that being said, gameplay-wise, this is the ultimate refinement of, stealth action gameplay. Like the stealth action genre, this is the pinnacle in terms of gameplay. The story also is very good as well. Unfortunately, most of us know, this was part of the infamous falling out with Hideo Kojima and Konami and all of that, and so the story isn't quite finished in the way that Kojima was originally intending. Some of those assets were found in Death Stranding, as long as assets from his Silent Hills project, but Silent Hills got the axe, and this one was heavily altered as a result of them just wanting to get the game out. So gameplay wise, there are still some gaps and holes, and it's not the most cohesive story compared to the other games, but gameplay wise, fantastic. I love all facets of it. Building out Mother Base is fantastic. The online mode is really good, and still heavy support for the online mode even today, and that's awesome. The graphics are fantastic. The enemies are cool. It's a fantastic game. Again, refinement is the one word that comes to mind when I'm talking about Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain, because it's literally the pinnacle of the stealth action genre. You can find this one pretty cheap. You can buy them separate, and they're under $20 separate, but I think even the double pack was $19.99, and it's totally worth that. If you haven't picked up Metal Gear Solid 5, you owe it to yourself to do it. A lot of people who are turned off by the other games, especially with some of their additions like heavy storytelling, long cutscenes, you don't see that much in the Ground Zero, save for the opening sequence. It's got one of the longest opening sequences I've ever played, but after that, it's pretty much gameplay, and a lot of the cutscenes and things like that have really been scaled back, again, because, the story is more or less unfinished. So, if you see this one, definitely pick it up, though. It's still a great game nonetheless. Okay, moving over to the Xbox One now, speaking of which, and it's been a while since I've actually talked Xbox One on this channel. It's a console I definitely need to dive back into. It's been sitting on my shelf, honestly, for the last 6 months or so. I really haven't been touching much on the Xbox One, but all of that is about to change because my brother, he is coming home. He was serving active duty overseas in the Middle East, and he should be back in a week or so from the time this video releases. And one of the games we played the most on the original, or on the Xbox One, that is Payday 2. We played a crap ton of it on the 360 as well, but with the re-releases that it got on the PS4 and the Xbox One, we're definitely going to be all over it. If you don't know what Payday 2 is, it is a co-op game brought to us by Starbreeze and Overkill Studios. This game takes place, you play as one of several bank robbers in the Payday gang, and you guys have moved your organization to Washington, D.C., and so this is a new ground where you pull off a series of heists. Again, it's a co-op multiplayer game, which pits you and your team against, you know, waves of police and special forces. The missions on this are incredibly varied. There's missions where you know, you're in a dope house cooking meth, to, you know, of course, your standard bank robbing missions, pulling snatch and grabs in jewelry stores, breaking people out of federal custody, and everything in between, some assassination missions, all of that. It's a fantastic game. This game takes place, you play as each character can be represented in a number of different styles of gameplay, to your stealthy characters, to your utility characters, your tanks, you know, that are durable and deal out heavy damage and can take heavy damage. And so there's a bunch of different gameplay styles that you can utilize while playing this, and it's really, you know, fantastic when you get a team of 4 and you can have everybody kind of fill each of those roles, and that's when the game really starts to click. The only knock I would give on this game is kind of like in the production value side of things. It's kind of a buggy game, especially it was on the Xbox 360 and PS3. They definitely fixed a lot over the years on the, you know, PS4 and the Xbox One, so it's really not that bad anymore. Even when I stopped playing it, you know, heavily a year ago, they had worked out a lot of the kinks. They update it all the time, so it gets a lot of support. They add a lot of different missions and music and different weapons and different playable characters. Like I said, it started out with 4 playable characters and maybe like, you know, 30 to 40 different weapons. Now they have several hundred weapons, and you got like a dozen or, you know, a dozen to 15 heisters. I can't remember what the number is. There's a lot of them though. You got a ton of different heisters to choose from. It's a fantastic game, and in my opinion, it's probably one of my like top 5, if not like top 3 co-op multiplayer games of all time. If you see this, there's a bunch of different versions on it. The edition I have is the Crime Wave edition, but there's a bunch of new DLC and stuff that's been released since then. I believe the Big Score edition is the most complete version of Payday 2, and so I'm definitely on the lookout for that. But all versions can be had for less than $30, and it's totally worth that. So if you see it, definitely pick. Okay, moving on to the Xbox 360 now, and with Halloween just around the corner, I thought I would start to get myself in the mood by playing, you know, kind of some horror-ish games. Not horror-ish games, horror-ish games. Death Smiles is first up on the list, and I've talked about this game before. It's a fantastic shooter by Cave and Arc System Works. It takes place, you play as like three or four witches, and you know, you're out to you know, deal with this curse or whatever that's taking over the land, beat the bad guy, blah 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 blah. Story, I don't really care about the story. What I care about is the dope ass visuals and the side-scrolling action. This is one of the best vertical shooters I've ever played. It's a bullet hell shooter, so you got, you know, waves and waves of enemy attacks all over the place, and most of them are hard, if not impossible, to dodge. But like I said, I really like the animations in this game, the variety and zaniness of the bosses, the art style, and the level design. It's just a fantastic little shooter. This one is kind of scarce now. I'm not quite sure what this is going for. I'll try to put it up on the screen as to what it's going for at this time, at the time of this video. But if you see it, definitely pick it. So this game also has a sequel of sorts. It's came out in Japanese territory, so this is Japanese only, so you got to do some finagling to be able to play it physically on American consoles. But if you see either of them, definitely pick them up. The sequel is actually super expensive now, but I think this one can still be had for less than $50. The trick is finding it, because it's a game that I haven't seen on store shelves in about a year or so, which means it might be getting ready to shoot up in price, especially being you know, kind of a horror style shooter and Halloween around the corner. People might, you know, pick up interest in this game again. So if you see it, definitely pick it up. Okay, and the final game on this list today, it's not a stranger to me. It's a game I've been playing over and over throughout the years. One of my favorite games of all time on the Xbox 360, and I've been playing it now because of its fantastic DLC. That is Red Dead Redemption, and I got the Game of the Year edition on deck because, you know, we've been playing it for that Red Dead Undead Nightmare Nightmare, which in my opinion is one of the most fantastic pieces of DLC, expansion pack, whatever you want to call it. It's one of the most fantastic add-ons that I've ever gotten the chance to experience in this. You play as John Marston. It's kind of like it takes place, it's just kind of like in a different universe. It's not really canon to the events of the story, but in this, it kind of storyline wise, it's pretty much after he starts operating in Blackwater again, because he's met everybody in the game. You'll see Seth, the little creepy grave robber, and the oil snake salesman, and all of that. All of them make an appearance in this game, and basically the dead have risen again. If I remember correctly, Seth, the grave robber, he unearths like not him, but somebody unearths an ancient mask. I think it's the general in Mexico. Unearths an ancient mask that puts this curse in the land that makes all of the dead rise, and then they start feasting on the living and turning them into zombies. Your wife and son are infected by the plague, and so it's up to you to go on this quest across the American Old West to put a stop to whatever's going on so you can save your family. Again, this takes place across the entire map of the base game, which is fantastic. The world of Red Dead Redemption is classic in my opinion, but of course, being Undead Nightmare, you got a different spin on things. You'll see the wildlife has also been zombified, and so you'll be attacked by all manner of like zombie bears and buffalo and wildcats and things like that, which is fantastic. You get a slew of different type of weaponry, whether that's kind of like a torch to set the living dead on fire. You get holy water, a blunderbuss to just blow up enemies. It's a fantastic little expansion. It'll take you about 8 hours to get through, and it's got its own little storyline and everything. Like, again, the first time I played this, I was blown away, and ever since I played it originally like 2010 or whatever, I always crank this up during the holidays to give it a good playthrough. So I'll probably do that. Perhaps I'll stream it on this channel this year, but again, if you haven't played Undead Nightmare, you can get it as part of the Game of the Year edition. You can still download it also from Xbox Live if you have the base game, or it came out physically in its own standalone package for like $10, and it's still hovering around the $10 mark. Anyway, you can play this game. It's not expensive, but it's definitely fantastic and the perfect game to play during the Halloween season. Alright guys, I do believe that's all I got for you, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats, what have you guys been playing lately? If you like this content, go ahead, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out, and peace.